Hello everyone. So usually when the new phones come out, I concentrate on three things while doing this video. One is camera hardware, two is software options in the camera, and three, the results. After a year and somewhat since these phones have been released, there's been newer models of these phones, and it's interesting that they kind of feel like a downgrade. I know I'll get hate for this, but okay. X200 Ultra has smaller sensor, and X15 Ultra has removed the aperture, variable aperture, like Xiaomi 14 Ultra had. So it's kind of interesting to see for me these two phones stacked up against each other after 1 year in camera department, how they process the photos. So we'll be concentrating on the third thing on my list, and that is the final results. Just to go quickly over the hardware part of these things, they both have a 1-inch main sensor with a fixed aperture on Vivo. X100 Ultra has 1.8 aperture, and Xiaomi 14 Ultra has variable aperture from f1.6 all the way to the f4.0. They're both 50 megapixel sensors. As for the telephoto, Vivo put all its money on a huge sensor, 1 over 1.4 inches with 200 megapixels and f2.7, 85 millimeters, so okay. And Xiaomi has two sensors. They are both 1 over 2.5 inches, so quite smaller than the one on Vivo, 75 millimeters and 120 millimeters, f1.8, f2.5. And it's interesting to see how these results will be in the end. Also, one thing to notice is the software. In the software department, Vivo is just straight up better. You have much more control over your photos. In every mode you can control how bright it will be, how contrasty, how sharp, and how saturated. Xiaomi unfortunately does not have that, and let's say that modes like long exposure are much better on Vivo because they work with all lenses. On Xiaomi they work only with main lens. Also there are a lot of different modes in it, and Vivo does support 120 frames per second on a telephoto camera, and unfortunately Xiaomi does not. So those are kind of the small differences that are between. Straight up, if you're looking at the sensor size and software, I would say the Vivo is better at the start. But how are the results? So I have few photos here, as you can see, that we can compare. Okay, let's start with ultra-wide on both of them. When you zoom out, you can see that ultra-wide is pretty similar, and when you zoom in a bit, you can see that Vivo kind of controls highlights a bit too well, so you don't get this kind of nice shiny reflection on the surface. Everything else is the same, details are kind of the same. Xiaomi is a bit wider because it's 12 millimeters, but honestly, I don't see much of advantages of having f1.8 over f2.2, so kind of similar. Now let's go to 23 millimeters. In 23 millimeters in both of them, you can see that Xiaomi choose to use f2.0, so kind of to make it more sharp, a little less light in it. Again, when you zoom out, you can see that photo on Xiaomi, it has some kind of personality. So you can see the edges are a bit more shadowy, more vignetting, and highlights are not as kept as on Vivo. So you get that kind of decent emotion with it. But for the image quality, I would say the Vivo is a bit more normal because you can see there's no this crazy over sharpening here like it is on Xiaomi. But yeah, the Xiaomi is much better than when it came out, I have to say. Okay, let's zoom in a bit further. So now we have popular 35 millimeter focal distance. Here the results are kind of similar as on the first two photos. When we zoom in, we can see again that Xiaomi does over sharpen quite a bit, and that's the problem with Xiaomi, that you cannot control sharpness, and on Vivo you can. Colors are kind of the same, highlights the same, shadows the same, so really similar quality at this time. Now we have 45, 46 millimeters, so that's what phones choose when you click that 2x lens of them. And here we can see that Vivo at this focal length does produce colors quite a bit more natural than Xiaomi does. So good for you, Vivo. Everything else the same. Shadows are a bit more shown on Xiaomi, but yeah, in this one I would also choose Vivo a bit. Okay, now we get 85 millimeters of Vivo versus 75 and 120 millimeters on Xiaomi. And you can see that again, colors are somewhat more natural on Vivo, and Xiaomi is consistent in colors between switching lenses, so that's a good thing to have. I hate when you have one lens, one color, and then second lens from the same phone in same scenario, different color. When we zoom in a bit, let's zoom in here. You can see that even though it has 125 millimeters Xiaomi, the results are still much better on Vivo. So Vivo is better in zoom when you compare it daylight with these two lenses, 75 and 125 millimeters. When we go in a bit more, the difference just becomes more clearer. So not the best photo taken here, but you can see that Vivo does preserve shadows better. It's kind of more natural. Colors were like this, not like this. So yeah. Okay, and the final zoom in, it's, I believe, like 690, 720 millimeters. So that's really zoom in. And they both use AI here, but you can see that Xiaomi's AI kind of went crazy here and deleted part of windmill. And the funny thing is that even though the colors are kind of the same now, so Vivo is not kept its cool when zoomed in a bit further than usual. But again, details are better, so yeah. Vivo is definitely zoom king when you look at these two. Again, just to say one thing, all the photos are shot in Leica Authentic and Zeiss Natural. And you can see that Zeiss Natural really gives more natural looking photos than Leica Authentic. Leica, whatever you like. And yeah, less over sharpening, water looks much more normal, so yeah. But let's talk about something else. So personality of the photo is something that, let's say you take 100 photos. And if you look at that 100 photo and none of those photos kind of give some emotion in you, then what's the point of that photo? You are just transferring reality to your phone and that's it. When I look at this photo, yeah, Vivo is great, but kind of Xiaomi gives me better emotion. Kind of look at this bluish thing, look at this contrasty between sea and mountain. So you can edit this photo on Vivo to make it more closer like this and you will get better photo. But to just straight up come out and shoot and get something like this, it's really nice for me. So I would say that whatever phone you choose, you have to think about two things. One is, do I want photos that are as close as to reality as I want? Then I can add or remove what I want from them. Or do I just want to point and shoot against something like this, a bit more colorful, a bit more cheerful, a bit more contrasty? For me, I'm the Vivo guy, but I can understand why someone will say that Xiaomi has something in its processing. Okay, let's go to the low light. So at low light, we get similar results. So this is Vivo on the left, Xiaomi on the right. Sorry, I still didn't turn on the watermark. And you can see that Xiaomi kind of lets everything just be. Okay, no need to increase shadows to get more highlights there. But Vivo then again gives you more details. It gives you more natural transfer for contrasty look from shadows to the highlights. And the sky was not this color, it was this color. Also moon on the background, kind of maybe a little bit better on Vivo. It's pushing it right now, but yeah. When we switch to ultra wide, here I was hopeful that Xiaomi's ultra wide with the kind of brighter aperture will be better. And when you zoom in at the building, Xiaomi is on the left, you can see that building is actually more better quality than on Vivo. Vivo kind of struggles here. As for the shadow and details, bit unnatural noise here on Vivo. So ultra wide at really low light, I would say very similar, but Xiaomi is a step ahead, just barely. Okay. Another contrasty shot at low light, so this is artificial lightening, and the color on the left are from Xiaomi, and they are more accurate to the nature. Also, take in mind that Xiaomi again did not try to make this as bright as possible in the background, they just leave it be. Xiaomi kind of pulled it here, it used more higher ISO value, so yeah, better shot on Xiaomi on this condition. We have simple shots of coffee mug here. Again, blown out highlights on Xiaomi, but when you look at the photo, it's more pleasing on Xiaomi because there's a deeper contrast here, and they did not try to crush highlights here. So look how weird this looks on Vivo. So nicely done. When we zoom in to 35 millimeters on both of them, here again you can see that Vivo's processing here on the right is more mature. Less noise, and it's not noise reduction so much, but mature processing. So it kind of, I believe it used even higher ISO and get better details. But again, when you look photo at all, I kind of prefer this. I like a bit blown out highlights here. I like this creamy background here without this weird blue stuff that Vivo has. Yeah, what you gonna do? Okay, now we have some really contrasty shot of a flower in front of a TV. Vivo used some crazy ISO here, so I don't know why. Photo is kind of similar, but you can see again the Vivo, when you zoom in, has somewhat better detail and sharpened. But it's not big difference. When these phones came out, it was a huge difference. Vivo was just better, much better and everything. So during the years, yeah. Again, here I was watching the movie Sinners. Yeah, just normal shot. I don't know what to tell you. They kind of look very similar to me. Vivo again with its crazy ISO value. Here you can see it's really crazy. But when you zoom in, less noise on Vivo, and I like more noise in this scenario because it's night. It should be more noise, and you can see how just Vivo lost its detail while processing this thing. So okay, let's check some shots of food. Here we have again close-up shots. You can see here Vivo is on the left with its 85 millimeters and 75 and 120 here. And in this photo, I actually prefer the perspective that I get from 120 millimeters. See, the background is more compressed than on these two. But when we zoom in, you can see that this f1.8 from Xiaomi is just great. It's great for close-ups. Don't get me wrong, Vivo has very incredible macro mode, but in this shot, Xiaomi just did it so much nicer. This thing looks so tasty, and it was. Again, this is a simple shot from the background light on TV, and you can see that it has some weird strips here on Vivo because it tried to keep everything well exposed. You see highlights here. Xiaomi just lets shadows be shadows, highlights be highlights, and you get more natural looking photo here. Like, especially when you look there, it's a bit underexposed, but it looks prettier. It has personality. Okay, now a simple shot of teddy bear. So here you can see that really Zeiss Natural is really natural. Look how this really looks like right in front of you. Xiaomi is a bit, you can see its artistic kind of approach to the photo. And again, 120 millimeter looks really nice. These two looks different. And I would again choose Xiaomi here because more personality in photo. When we talk about 10x zoom, we have here sunflowers. When you zoom out, you can see that different color approach again. Vivo on its Zeiss Natural is more natural. This is how it looks. It kind of preserved the highlights more better. When we zoom in, details are kind of the same. So not much advantage from having 120 millimeters default lens. Also, Vivo did preserve details here, sorry, a bit better. So yeah, here. And another shot, 10x here. Oh, again, very similar result. You can see some light bleeding here on Xiaomi. It's not that prominent on Vivo. So to point and click, Vivo, better results. To kind of have more personality, Xiaomi better, but these phones have aged amazingly. And last but not least, we have a few photos of people. Here, when we zoom out, you can see again that Vivo on 35mm is great, and also Xiaomi, but when we don't look details, when we look at the color, my friend was not this pale. Okay, he was not this pale on Xiaomi, he was more natural looking like this on Vivo. And for the details, I would say kind of the same. You can see here, a bit more sharper on Vivo, but this is an extreme zoom in, so details kind of the same. As for the colors, better definitely on Xiaomi. You can see that also t-shirt is more natural looking here and everything. So let's see this. This is also an example where you can just see that Xiaomi's processing is not as mature as Vivo's. Much better details here on Vivo when you compare them like this. Yeah, much better results on Vivo. So for shooting people, Vivo did best. Okay, this is interesting shot. This is my friend, and you can see here that Xiaomi is just more pleasant shot when you look at it. Look how weird the background looks on Vivo, this dark area here. It was not, this is black, this is like here. When we zoom into the details here, let's go here, you can see that Vivo is sharper, colors are more natural looking, but again, when you zoom out, when you look at the photos, more contrast, more decent photo, it gives you some kind of emotion. This is just a flat photo. And another shot of my friend. Again, I would say the same results. You see weird light bleeding here on Vivo from trying to make everything HDR-ish, and Xiaomi is just natural. When we zoom in to details, details are kind of a bit over sharper here on Xiaomi. They are more natural. The eye is like this, it's not this dark, but zoom out and again we have the same problem. So how to conclude this video? After 1 year, these phones are probably the best camera phones you can buy on your market without spending over 1,000 euros. They're quite cheap right now. For me, I will stick with Vivo because I'm not artistic soul. I'm kind of shoot and have a nice photo guy. But for you, I would understand why you would go on Xiaomi, and probably sometime I would switch my car to the Xiaomi as well because it's really nice. Also, let's remember some other things. Xiaomi has global variant, Vivo does not. For at least for X100 Ultra, Xiaomi has a widely available photo kit that is on Type-C. Vivo has some from small rig, but it's not as good. Vivo software is a bit better than Xiaomi's, but Xiaomi is a bit more compact, so that's also something to consider. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up video. Whatever you choose is good. These both phones aged great. They take great shots. Whatever you choose, you will be happy with it. And honestly, buy this. Don't buy the newer models. It's just not worth it.